Hello there, my name is ChrisTenarium and today we are back with another Nanoreno game. It's called the Crossroads. How much do I know about it? Nothing, other than the title. Please customize my character and press the continue button. This is rather snazzy. Do I want them to look awful? That's not ginger. That's a cop-out of ginger is what that is. Alright, let's go generic. White. Black. I can't tell what that looks like, because, like, there are certain parts of her skin which are quite clearly lighter than the other, like this side of her arm. Fine, alright, this works. Black. That's not blonde, that's dark blonde. I can't make them look silly. We're not a leopard, though, so no freckles. Continue. Please put in character name and press the return key. Done. Davette. Whoa. When the lawyer asked me to house sit, I didn't realise he meant a mansion. I was going to say it doesn't look like a mansion, but I guess it is. The garden is huge. Although, somewhat featureless for a mansion. You go through all this effort of buying this much land up, and then there's all this space with nothing. Also, the weirdest gravelly path ever. It looks like a bad acid trip. Other than that, like, you know, the trees look nice, the grass looks nice, the house looks nice. I stare over the house before me, its white wood walls and gleaming arched windows shining brightly in the midday sun. Maybe things are finally starting to look up. That is always a sign that something bad is going to happen. It's about time they did. I shake the thought away and begin walking up the path. The wheel on my luggage catch in the gravel, but I yank behind me and continue on, too excited to be held back. Oh, man. Oh, my throat was playing something fierce with me there. After losing my job, my apparent, and, well, pretty much everything else in my life, I figured I'm owed something nice. So where are you staying at the moment? Like being paid to house sit a mansion in a peaceful quiet of the countryside. I presume that means part of the countryside. Area. It's not like I had much of a choice. The job had practically fallen on my lap after all. I've been filling out a form on a recruitment website and had just finished when my phone rang. The house is in contested ownership between two people, the lawyer had explained. Whilst the proceedings for ownership are taking place, we need someone to be in the house to oversee it and its staff. With your current situation being so uncertain, I thought you might enjoy the opportunity. A change of scene will do me the world of good. A change of scene or scenery? I've never heard the expression a change of scene before. I just need to get away from it all, and this is my chance. Getting paid to do nothing and sit around, sign me up. Not like I have many other choices. Fucking hell. Alright, well, a few of those are a bit morbid. This one's a bit too morbid. This is a little too lackadaisical. A change of scenery will do me the world of good. I'd stared at my phone for a while before letting out a gentle sigh. The lawyer was right. A change of scene would do me the world of good, I reasoned. Just what I need to help sort out my life. I'd agreed before the lawyer had even finished explaining. It wasn't until after I'd put the phone down that I'd realised I hadn't actually hit the submit button on the recruitment form. Still, it was too late to turn back by then. I walked to the door of the house, a glint of metal by the doorframe catching my eye. I scoff and roll my eyes at the name of the house. Don't tell me it's going to be called something ridiculous. Despair Mansion! The Crossroads, oh. Yeah, I guess I should have guessed that, huh? Kind of ironic, considering that's exactly where I'm at my life right now. I pull out the ornate iron key the lawyer sent me, turning over its weight in my hand, and unlock the door. It clicks easily and the door swings open. No turning back now. And with a shrug of my shoulders, I head inside to begin my weeks of peace and reflection. Weeks? I didn't know it was weeks! Oh my god. A couple hours later, I found my way to the room the lawyer said would be mine and settled myself in. A couple of hours later? What were you doing up until that point? Masturbating on the gravelled path? Hours, my lord. It's nice and open, and that bed is... If the perspective of this room is correct, that bed is way, way, way too high. And also the room looks like it's on a slight slant. Okay. Let me try and explain this. This table here is parallel to this bed. But this is also the same lamp as that one, so I'll assume it's the same table on that one over there. But you can't see the entirety of this bit. The first bit you can see is like here. So the room is like slanted somehow. All I'm going to say is, if you hear a smash in the middle of the night, it's probably this that's fallen off the desk. Oh, hang on, we definitely skipped something. It's nice and open, and daylight glowing through the curtains on one wall and the slight smell of apple potpourri lingering through the air. So far, the whole thing has been idyllic. Though the lawyer did say there would be staff, I haven't seen anyone so far, but I suppose I'll have to introduce myself at some point. It'll be nice to have a bit of company. As long as they don't disturb my peace, then I'm fine with them. A house with staff, I didn't even know they still existed. What, you think mansions like this are just self-serviced with like one person doing all the road work? I don't think they'd have enough time. I'm sure they'll be too busy doing their jobs to notice me. As long as they don't disturb my peace, then I don't suppose I can argue about them being here. It'll be useful to have people who know the house around in case I need anything. I give a shrug, turning my head out of my room. The house seems pretty empty inside, and the sunlight bursting through the back of the doors tempts me out. The bright light hits me as soon as I step out into the garden, the sun warming against my skin. As I walk through the hedge-lined pathways, I listen to the bird chorus undisturbed by traffic or city noise. It's beyond peaceful, and the idea of spending weeks here makes my smile widen. Can I help you? A voice calling to me makes me stumble to a stop, almost tripping over the flower border. Where are they? I spin on the spot, glancing over a vine-draped pergola through a topiary archway. The pink flowers sprinkled over the leaves, almost seeming to glow neon in the light. Wow, what an incredibly convoluted way of explaining that something is pretty. It's a moment before my gaze drops to the figure now approaching me through the dappled shadow of the pergola. What an entrance, Jesus Christ. All you're missing is a leather jacket that says T-Birds on the back. He tugs off a pair of mud-stained gardening gloves, then pushes his fingers through his hair, which has fallen out in front of his dazingly green eyes. Oh, dazzlingly even. I'd hardly say it's dazzling. I was trying to get over the fact that he looks like Wolverine. Are you lost? I blink out of my momentary shock and realise I have to respond. Oh, no, sorry, no, I'm Davette. I'm supposed to be house-sitting. I'm here to house-sit. The lawyer should have told you. Not unless there's another mansion called the Crossroads around here. I was told you'd be expecting me. I was Davette. That fucking lawyer, am I right? Ah, yes, of course. He gives me an apologetic smile. I should have been there to greet you. I'm sorry. All I'm hearing is we now get to do a forfeit. I want to shove his head into the mud. I've been so busy. He gestures to the perfectly manicured garden spreading out behind him. I shrug away his apology. Where was this pergola when... I don't even know if it's pronounced that way. But where was that when we saw the mansion? Was it like round the back or something? Is that why it wasn't there? I shrug away his apology. I'm Tristan, by the way. Hello, Tristan. He extends his hands out towards me and I reach out to shake it. I'm the handyman here, well, and the gardener. His laughter echoes softly and the plants seem to be lifted by the sound of it. It's good to meet you. He nods, folding his arms and moving over to lean against the post of the pergola. His gaze flickers over me for the briefest moment, as though I wasn't what he was expecting. So you're the key person. The person who has the key to the house. Oh, not someone who's very important. Way to make me feel inferior. He rubs the back of his neck and glances away. I suppose I am. Weird wording, but okay. You the only one who works here? His awkwardness quickly shifts into annoyance at the question. Unfortunately not. There are two of us who work here. Though that's one too many. Oh, I sense competition. He mutters the last part, but I hear it anyway in the quiet of the surroundings. Quiet? Those birds practically have an orchestra. He steps back onto the path and smiles once again. I should probably get back to it. He jerks a thumb over his shoulder. The plants won't water themselves. It's good meeting you, Dave. I'm sure... Oh, Davette, sorry. I'm sure we'll meet up again later. I give a smile to match his own. Sure, see you later. As he gives a farewell nod of his head, pulls back on his gloves and disappears around one of the many hedge walls. He seemed nice enough. I stare at the place he'd just been stood, wondering what to make of the first impression. I'm going to go with weird. Weird seems oddly perfect for this situation. A bit of eye candy will certainly be nice. Gonna have to wait and see. Suddenly someone who I can at least share the house with. I don't know, he seemed nice enough. He seemed quite normal, so it should be easy to share a house with him. Though I suppose it depends how long I'm actually going to be here. I shake the thought away, turning to head back to the gardens towards the house. Or at least I try to find my way back. I was sure I couldn't have gone that far from the house. The place suddenly looks the same as before. Giving an annoyed click on my tongue, I spin on my heel and head back in the other direction. I've just realised that the text box has, like, buildings in it. I don't know why it's taken me so long to notice that. Quite a while later, I emerge out of a tree-lined pathway to stumble back to the front of the house. Right. The pergola isn't visible from this place because it's miles out of the way. I need to almost collide into the back of someone. The figure turns to face me, a brow arched in confusion. Oh my god. You're not like Italian and speak to your mama a lot, right? No? I'm unsure what to say, his refined, stiff posture, not something I normally see in people. We both stand in silence for a long moment before his assessment curves his lips into a long smile. I never get... Has moment changed meaning since I last looked at it in the dictionary? I keep seeing this. Moment means minute. You mean that you're standing there for a whole minute in silence staring at each other? That's awkward as hell. You'd never make it that long. You must be Davette. We've been expecting you. I was awaiting your arrival. Hope you haven't been waiting too long. I arrived earlier. You should have been expecting me hours ago then. I'm afraid you're a little late. I didn't realise anyone had been waited. I'm actually already settled. That one. I half mutter the words, the awkwardness of the moment weighing heavily. I actually arrived a while ago and got settled. Oh. He glances away, his brows shift into an annoyed frown. I see. I was informed by the shoulder of his crisp suit shift as he stiffens by my colleague that your arrival would be now. You mean Tristan? His lips twitch at my question, seeming to hold back a reaction. Right, so what he's saying is that... Is there more to it than I thought, or is the other dude just a complete dick? I actually met him already. Yes. Seems I underestimated him. Excuse me? I frown as he mutters the strange statement. His gaze flicks back to meet mine, the attention so sudden that I flinch. He glides a step closer, the movement elegant and yet so smooth it's slightly unnerving. Let's not worry about that now. What matters is you finally arrived. My name is Lucan. Lucan? What sort of name? Okay, right. Well, from now on you're known as Lucian, and I am the steward of the residence. It is unfortunate you've had to settle in by yourself, but please, if you should have need of me, do not hesitate to call. His brow quirks up for any reason. His tone turns heavy with suggestion, enough that I have to swallow hard. Something, it hopefully in his mind won't be the last time you do that. Man, I slowed that down and I still fucked it up. And with that he passes by me, heading into the maze of gardens I had just been lost in. I watch him go, shifting on the spot a little. This experience is a little different than I imagined so far. This whole thing is going to... maybe things will settle down the longer I'm here. Maybe, or maybe they just won't. Taking a deep breath of fresh air, I'm pleased to at least have the introduction out of the way. The fact that the lawyer wanted anyone to house sit when there are staff already here is strange. But the nagging thought is washed away by the tranquility of the house and the gardens. I think it's more because those two hate each other and there needs some sort of mediatory between them both. With a renewed smile, I head back into the house, planning to explore a little more before the evening settles in. A couple slow hours pass, and I try to enjoy the feeling of doing nothing, but it's so different than city life, where each moment is consumed by some task or chore. I've heard this a lot, and I always think it's complete bollocks, like... what, suddenly going to the country makes you have less things to do, or suddenly being in the city means you have more things to do. There's nothing stopping you just sitting at a computer and playing games. You can do that in both places. I wander about the house, peering into unused rooms, checking in interested nooks and crannies. Eventually, I find my way into the main hallway. I'm almost back into the foyer when a figure steps out from a doorway to one side. As soon as he spots me, he saunters a step closer, a smile forming on his face. David, I've never heard anyone speak my name with such eloquence before. You must be from a real shitty part of town, huh? Or in half a purr. I see you're acquainting yourself with the house. How are you finding it so far? It's a bit of a maze. I give a small chuckle, pushing some hair behind my ear. I'm not exactly used to staying in such grand places. I doubt it'll take you long to accustom yourself. In the meantime, I'd be happy to act as your personal guide. Once again, there's a heavy undertone of suggestion to his tone and words. I glance away, unsure if it's just me hearing things or if he really wants to... is quite so bold with people he doesn't know. Well, yes, I mean, look at him and his suit and his face. That is a face that is chiseled to perfection, damn it. If he wants to try and sleep with anything that moves, then that's his godforsaken right. That's not how that works. Well, hello there, you two. Lucan purses his lips as Tristan calls to us from down the corridor. The handyman strides down the hallway, joining us moments later, a smile on his face. They're both ripped. Look at their shoulders. Jesus. I see you've met us both now. Hope our company will be good enough during your time here. How are you settling in? A question we have already been over, handyman. Tristan recovers well from the rather sharp remark, ignoring Lucan and focusing on me instead. Well, if that's been covered, how about food? Sorry? Seems a shame for you to eat alone in your first night in a new place. If you're up for it, I usually have my supper in the living room. It's only pizza and beer, but it's food. Right, so you're telling me you have a body like that, but you eat pizza and beer. There is fucking no chance. Lucan lets out another noise of disapproval. What about you, Lucan? The steward's frown eases into what I'm guessing is his usual expression of a smile. I shall be dining in the kitchen. His gaze flickers to Tristan. On a meal much more befitting what our guest should be eating. The two men glare at each other, a heavy air suddenly pressing down on the narrow hallway. I'd picked up on a little hostility when they spoke of each other, but I don't know where this anger between them suddenly stems. The thing is, so far, is I'm siding with Lucan, because Lucan just appears to be disapproving of Tristan, but Tristan appears to have deliberately dicked over Lucan. Oh, I've called him Lucan like a million times, despite saying that I would call him Lucian. This is a bad idea. I don't know who to side with, because I feel I should be siding with Lucan. Because Tristan was a dick to Lucan, and Lucan wasn't a dick to Tristan. Maybe it's a dislike that's been going on for some time? Yeah, I'd probably guess that. Either way, I get the impression that neither would respond well to suggesting we should all eat together. You're both very kind to offer. I feel very welcomed. I'm really not all that hungry yet, so I guess I'll have to see how I feel later. I flicker my focus between them, hoping I've calmed the situation. It seems to work, the two men taking a step back from each other and nodding. Until later, then. Luca gives a sharp nod of his head in farewell, lets his gaze linger over me for a long moment, then strides down the hallway. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks. You let out a long sigh. You didn't realise you're going to be so many issues in this place. It's literally two people who don't like each other. That is the only issue. Though for the amount I'm getting paid, I probably still would have taken the job. Do we now have to decide? Yeah, we now have to decide who we're going to be with, huh? Sweet. Do I eat with Tristan or do I eat with Lucan? The gods of skill and determination will decide. Heads is Tristan and tails is Lucan. So here we go. And it's tails. I don't know if you can see it properly on the webcam. See, that's tails, and that's heads. See, you can see the queen's head on there. Yes, I have a 50p coin here. Lucan, how's it going, man? I'm glad you made it. I pause mid-step as Lucan appears in the doorway, a smile of greeting on his face. As I move further inside, I glance over the spread of food on the kitchen island? Oh, there is an island. Okay. I thought, like, behind here, there just wasn't that much room. I don't know, like, there wasn't any room. But there turns out there is, just not much. Wow, it looks delicious. Plates of fluffy white rice, colourful vegetables and glossy sauce, and what looks like and smells like a loaf of fresh baked bread. I'm glad you approve. Won't you come take a seat? I give an eager nod, moving to sit on one of the high stools by the counter. Lucan shifts it under me as I go to sit. Oh, thanks. His smile stays fixed in place as he takes the seat on the other side. Stefan, wow. That says steam. I am that off it, apparently. Steam wafts from the dishes, my eyes barely leaving the food as my stomach tightens. Please, go ahead. I don't need any further invitation than that. Start digging in. As the first mouthful hits my tongue, I let out a groan. Vibrant, tangy flavours burst inside my mouth, and I quickly take the next bite to savour it. Did you cook all of this? He gives a nod. It's amazing. You could be a chef. His laugh is more hollow than I expected, as though I did something wrong. The thought is appreciated. His strange amusement sinks back into his regular smirk I am now becoming most familiar with. Is that because he is a chef or something? After a few more mouthfuls, my hunger is satiated? However that word is pronounced, enough to realise he hasn't set a plate for himself. Are you not eating too? Oh, I already ate. I was uncertain if you would be joining me, so I went on with my meal. Oh, that's okay then. I'm not sure I could have taken the guilt of eating all his food if he had none. He probably didn't have any. He swirls a glass of deep red wine in one hand, his long fingers accentuating the elegant motion. It's only so times you can say elegant before you keep repeating words and ones that'll like it. You managed to find your way to the house without incident today? Actually, it was a pain to find. I place my fork down as I give a laugh, resting my elbows against the cool marble of the countertop. The closest village, a few miles from here, hadn't even heard of the place. That's unsurprising. We are most out of the way here. I doubt many even know of its existence. Well, what do you do when you have visitors? We don't have visitors. Ever? You are our first in a very long time. Oh. I'm uncertain how to continue the conversation, so begin eating my food once again. My gaze flickers up to watch as he begins running his fingers down the length of the stem of his wineglass. It seems a general motion, but something about his manner and look makes it far from innocent. A blush forms on my cheeks as I watch. In fact, Lucan seems to notice his smirk lengthening at my reaction. Hey, it looks like you're being seduced. I clear my throat and turn away for a moment. What brought you here, David? This sudden question forces my focus back on him. Apart from the prospect of a job offer, I don't think many people would easily move away from their familiar settings and take up residence in a remote location as this. There wasn't much of a life to give up to come here, apparently. I flick my gaze up to meet his, though he remains expressionless. This job came just as everything was falling apart. He tilts his head to one side a little, as though studying me closely. And yet, even with all that happening, you were brave enough to risk coming here. He looks at his glass. At least being here can bring you comfort for a while. If nothing else. It is easy to forget the world exists at times here. He glances back at me, his words sounding genuine, and I smile in return. I reach for my own drink, hoping I haven't put a complete downer on the evening. I think you're right. Being here will be good for me. I'm hoping some time away will help me put my life into order a little. Not how that works, you're just running away unless you find permanent employment here. But sure, delude yourself in any way possible. Decide where I want to go next after this job is done. His smirk returns, the mood seeming to pick up a little. What about you? How long have you worked here? A very long time. Is this what you've always wanted to do? What do you mean a very long time? You're at best like 25. Not exactly. Being chained to a house with no freedom wasn't exactly in my plans for the future. Your job ties you down here? Yes, the job. His strange reply is forgotten as his smirk returns and he leans across the counter closer to me. Oh, take me! Boil me like spaghetti! That euphemism makes less and less sense the more I think about it. But you must grow weary of talking about careers. Let us speak of more. He pauses, biting the bottom of his lip for a moment, stimulating topics. I gulp my drinks, feeling a sudden heat on my cheeks once again. The rest of the evening passes without notice, Lucan's conversation more distracting than I thought it would be, especially considering we seem to only talk of general things like the weather and the house. When the clock chimes 11, I jump out of my seat. Jeez, I didn't even realise the time had gone so quickly. As I stand, fatigue grips my body, the day's excitement of arriving here draining me more than I thought. Then I bid you good night, David, and thank you for your company this evening. Thank you for the good food. I am at your beck and call. I'm not really the owner of this house, you know. You don't have to be like that. Oh? He suddenly stands from his place, taking a wide step to close the gap between us. But what if I want to be like that with you? Dude, just fucking bend me over the counter already. I mean, come on. Like, we just met, and this is where you're going. Well, I can only hope it's my tiredness that makes me stumble on a reply. Good night, David. I feel your presence here will prove most intriguing. I raise a brow at his words, but shake it away as I move to leave. But still, his statement nags at me, and I have a feeling there is more meaning to it than I suspect. Oh, they're water sprinklers, I was going to say. This isn't going to walk in on you in the shower. I see where this is going. After 30 minutes, we get up. So we check the case. The phone is barely working. We have to write a letter. Maybe we should go thank... Well, we're on Lucan's thing. There's no point in changing now. Good morning, David. Any interesting mail? Actually, none at all. And what exactly are you doing? We both look at the door he was examining. It's important to keep everything in good order. I check the house regularly for anything that may need improving. Everything looks perfect to me, including the staff. I admire your dedication to your work, good sir. A trait that should be admired. It is a trait that should be rewarded rather than admired. There's a faint hint of bitterness to his words, but I wonder if I imagined it as he continues. But I thank you for the compliment. I am most dedicated in many things. Something I would be happy to prove to you in any way you wish. Okay, on your hands and knees, and I'd like you to run a marathon. You say you're dedicated? Prove it. Once again, his suggestive tone has me glancing away before my cheeks heat. His gaze is still focused on me, his posture unmoved like a sharp-dressed statue. The clock in the foyer ticks, the sound of it echoing out the doors, making me shift awkwardly. I'm thankful when he breaks the silence he seemed to be reveling in. I much enjoyed our time together last night. Thank you for that. You're most welcome. Keep the conversation going, not willing for the quiet to engulf me once again. So, what do you guys do for fun? Nothing, would be my guess. What exactly did you have in mind? Certainly not whatever he's thinking. No, don't you watch movies or go out? Going out seems unlikely. We are very isolated here. I was going to say, where are you going to go? Ooh, we're going to walk 5 miles and find, like, a shitty town, which only sells groceries with dirt all over them. I'm starting to get that fact. Still, there must be something. I suppose I could give you a proper tour of the house. You might find something that excites you within. Sure, the house is pretty huge. There's bound to be something in there somewhere. Oh, I'm sure there is. I shan't let a room go unmissed. So they have a cinema room, they have like a tennis room, a music room, a library room, and a games room. Lucan talks about each with surprising enthusiasm and knowledge, answering blah blah blah. We head back to the living room. Sweet, got it. I hope you saw everything that might satisfy your needs. I can skip over things that are just not relevant. Anytime there's like a topic which is, hey, this is a thing, and then they smile at me, and then there's 5 minutes of wasting of, well, that was a rather peculiar situation. I can skip over that. Hope you saw something that might satisfy your needs. Well, the whole tour had... I can't go where I was going to go. The whole tour had been loaded with suggestive comments like that. I have to give him credit. Not many people could turn every conversation into a suggestive one. I don't know, give me a bottle of red and I'm sure I could manage. Though there were some moments where he seemed to relax somewhat. Do you have a language that isn't innuendo? If the way I speak now makes you blush, then I fear you may not be ready for the other languages I know. I suppose your commentary did make the house seem less stuffy. Something I'm gladdened to hear. It is, after all, my duty to ensure the entertainment and well-being of the occupants of this house. I turned to face him fully, feeling slightly awkward at him seeing me as anything other than just a house-sitter. I meant what I said last night. I'm not the owner of this house or anything, just here to house-sit. You don't have to be on show with me. His smirk falls and he seems to inspect me for a moment, then his usual half-amused expression returns and he moves closer towards me with purpose. He looks different here. If you don't want me on show, then how would you prefer me? Just be yourself. The shit, non-neutral, crappy answer. I run my tongue... Oh, okay. And say, excuse me? Well, you could just be yourself. Maybe I will. He then steps back and I manage to take a steadying breath. Enjoy the rest of your day, David. I watch him go, not sure what I had expected in spending time with him, but certainly not whatever that was. That was a bit weird. Alright, well, this is longer than I thought, so I guess we're going to put it into 2 parts, and I'll see you next part, and maybe Lucan can show us that it's not only his attitude that's half amusing. I'm trying to insinuate that his penis is large. I don't know how I can do it. This is the way I've chosen to do it. Deal with it.